And we also have a bonus episode that has been voted on by our $5 plus patrons that we have to talk about.
Like,
Shaves,
it's confirmed what we're doing?
Yeah, Shaves, have you seen Bocchi the Rock?
Yeah. So I'm pretty proud that when I watch seasonals, when I decide to watch seasonals, I choose to watch them before they start airing. I don't. It's just a weird thing with me. It's not like a thing, a set rule for myself. I just happen to be this way. When like if I didn't choose to start watching the seasonal and like after it aired, I usually don't catch up or whatever because I always feel like I'm just I'm just like part of the. I don't know. I'm just doing it for clout or something. Yeah. I'm just joining the hype wave, like see what it's all about. I usually
I will say I am joining the hype wave with this show. The only reason Magical Destroyers wasn't already on the list is I only picked anime that had 100,000 or more viewers on my anime list.
Very fair.
Until people started recommending me things, and I was like, all right, if I hear a name come up like 5 times, we'll cover it on the show. And that was Magical Destroyers. But anyway.
That's a good rule. But but I heard about Bocchi before it was airing from the Sakabura people, from like Kevin, that like, oh, this is probably one to check out because this is like this particular director's, I think it's his debut, and it's probably going to be really, really good in terms of its like experimentative stuff. And it's like a Yonkama that's like probably getting one of those nice adaptations, so like a K-On or something. So I'm like, all right, I'll be in that wave. I'll check it, And so I was there, and I was watching pretty, early on. And so I did watch. Bocchi was one of the few fall seasonals I did watch. I watched a ton of fall seasonals actually. Gwitch, Chainsaw Man, Bocchi, Do It Yourself. Like around that many, I think. But I'm happy I checked out Bocchi the Rock because it was that actually popular one.
That was the
and I
one,
enjoyed it for sure.
I put it in the poll because it was like the show that the most people I follow on Twitter have talked about in the last year. And
exactly.
And that's unique from like most popular anime, obviously. Like Demon Slayer doesn't come down my timeline, but Bocchi the Rock was all over it, and like
like a fighting anime.
No, it's a band
music anime.
It's cute girls playing rock music, and the main one's like really awkward, I guess. Is
socially, she's got like social anxiety.
But like
for instance, very introvert.
A musician I follow called Ada Rook, like made an AMV of like Slipknot interpolated with the opening theme. It was really funny, and it made me like, okay, well, I'm obviously gonna have to watch this show. But I wanted people to vote on it first to make sure I was sure. And like, even though people gave us other suggestions that some of which got a few votes, Bocchi the Rock ultimately dominated the vote. Got almost half of all of it. And part of that is thanks to some of our $10 patrons and backed by supporters, because True Fox 1, our valiant commenter who has time coded our live streams for years, except for these episodes because I time code them on the We Watch Anime channel. That's right. If you're listening to the VOD, you don't get time codes. That's only on the edited channel. Anyway.
Woo!
True Fox subscribed on back.by for $10 per month. Thank you so much. We also have on Patreon Last Isis. We have M2 for the second week in a row. We have Hidden Music Island for the second week in a row. And Jeremy Buergo. I hope I'm saying that right. Buergo. Buergo. Yeah?
I hope so. Thank you, everyone who is subscribed to the Patreon or the Backed By. We love the Backed By because it only takes 1% of our money.
I love when people subscribe on Patreon at the year, like you pay for a whole year for 16% off, and then that basically means you just send me $100 right then and there, and it helps me get through the month. So thanks to everybody who did that. We Watch Anime. If you didn't see the episode about Magical Destroyers with Shaves, we just recorded that. It went on for 4 hours unexpectedly, but it was really fun.
It was great. I'm going to be sleep talking through the rest of this episode.
It's gonna be difficult. We're on episode 4 of covering all the other shows other than Magical Destroyers that we're covering this season, which Magical Destroyers will now be in the rotation. I hope it gets good again.
So Shinoko, we begin.
I hope this gets good again.
Yeah, it's not. There's a dating show. Wow, Aqua's on the dating show. The dating show has dating show drama. There's the idol girl, and she's kind of a bitch. And then there's this other girl with blue hair, and she's really reserved and timid. There's also the YouTuber girl who says things like sus.
That's true. That's mostly the subtitles doing that.
Sure, but I like to imagine that she says it. She's a YouTuber. She's probably played Among Us.
That's true. Since we are starting a new episode of this show right now, I'm going to go ahead and once again thank our $10 backers, Last Esses, M2, Hidden Music Island, Jeremy Buergo, and True Fox 1 over on back.by. You can find all our links to support us in the description. I apologize that this episode ends up being weird. We've been already recording for 4 hours talking about Magical Destroyers. It's literally called Magical Girl, Magical Destroyers. That show is weird as shit, and it took a long time to get our feelings out about with Shabes. And now we're all dead and tired and fucked up because we're going to Oshi no Ko, and neither of us likes this show.
It's not good. I want it to get better. It's supposed to be a murder mystery. It's turning into not that.
It's so frustrating. Like, I thought Dead Mount Deathplay was the most frustrating anime this season.
I know. It's better. This week it was better than this show
It was legitimately better than Oshi no Ko this week. And, like, we'll get into it. So, in the last episode, we learned that this girl on the reality TV show that our main character, Aqua, is a part of, she's kind of conniving. She's really just trying to put on a show, which I don't even think is a bad thing. If anything, it's the same thing Aqua's doing.
They're on a dating show. Most of them are supposed to be acting or something.
And we also learned that, like, so the episode starts with her pretending that she's going to leave the show. And everybody reacts, oh my god, you're leaving. And then, of course, as soon as camera's off, she's like, I literally can't leave. I'm contracted to be on the show. I'm just playing up, like, you know, I really have been teased at school. I really thought about quitting, but, like, obviously I know I can't, so I just played it up for the cameras. I do think it's hard for me to say, even though on our last podcast I was like, I work in the entertainment industry. I understand things like this. At the same time, this show presents it like everyone in the entertainment industry is a fucking sociopath. Like, they all just are constantly thinking about their thoughts and what they're doing. And everybody is, like, super measured and calculated in fucking everything they do. This episode really reinforces that idea. And it's a little too meta for me. Like, I appreciate self-awareness in characters. I don't think every character in... I don't think every person in a situation can describe why they are there, what they're doing, what their intent is.
Yeah, like me right now. I couldn't explain why I'm here right now. Oh.
Money.
God.
Money is why you're here right now. This episode is mostly
about Korean barbecue time. So they're out on the date. This is the blue-haired girl I was talking about. I think her name's Akane or something.
Bro, I have no fucking
idea.
No,
Akane is the other
blue?
girl.
I couldn't even have gotten that far. What is it? Gray, blue, green?
She's very
it's
lackluster as a character.
And that weirdly is kind of the point.
Yeah.
This is a weird anime episode because it's basically what the message of this episode is that there are some people in the entertainment industry who, in spite of being totally well-meaning, nice, innocent people, aren't really cut out for it in a way that will allow them to deal with actually being in it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot to say about this episode as somebody who's been famous on the internet since I was too young to drink.
And never mind.
I don't know. This is an episode that I've seen. Okay, when we talked about Oshi no Ko last week, I accidentally misattributed. I talked about a video about the voice acting in this, or no, not the voice acting even. Man, my brain is fucking full of Oshi no Ko knowledge right now. There's a video about the character designer of this show. I attributed it to a Kito senpai. It was actually made by a YouTuber called Yiman, Yiman. Both of them talk about this show. They're both huge fans. Kito senpai has been getting super emotional about this show and talking about how, like, this girl relates to real world actresses and, like, all this stuff that's really happened in the anime industry. I appreciate why this episode's going to make some people super emotional, super sad. They're going to really care because they're like, it's like real life. But I grew up on the internet. I've been on the internet since 2001.
How is cyberbullying even real?
Just close your eyes. Like, walk away. Like, we're going to get into it. Look, I don't hate this. I do hate this bitch, though. Ruby.
She's not great.
She's just power, but not cool. This is just a face Power would make.
Yeah.
In Chainsaw Man. But Power's hilarious, and this girl sucks.
She's really not funny. She doesn't add anything to the show. She's just kind of annoying.
Yeah, I thought she would be cool, but she sucks. This is actually my favorite scene in this whole episode, and it's because
he can eat fatty foods again because he's young, and it's awesome.
I straight up forgot that Aqua was originally an old guy.
Yeah, right?
How much has that shit come up at all? He was like 36 or something, like a 36-year-old gynecologist. But like as soon as his mom died, he became such a convincing, edgy teenager. I had totally forgotten that he wasn't just that guy.
Puberty's a strong beast.
Even when you've already been through it. With this young body, I can eat an unlimited amount of fatty meat and my stomach feels fine. I really appreciate this as somebody who gets stomach aches kind of often. I'm a small person. I can't eat as much as I think I can, or as much as I could at certain points in my youth. But the other day, I threw up a caprese pizza.
You've talked about it already. Stop bringing it up.
It's sad. On this podcast?
I don't know, but stop bringing it up.
Anyway, this scene really pissed me off because Aqua and Ruby are talking about the reality TV show that Aqua's on and speculating about how real each of the characters is. This is like a layer of abstraction that started to frustrate me because the way the scene is presented, if you can look at the screen, Aqua and Ruby are like looking up at they're chibi-fied. They're like cute little anime characters looking up at a thought cloud. And in this thought cloud, they go through every single other person that's on the show and speculate about how real each of them is being. But the way the scene is presented, it would only make sense that Aqua is telling all of this to Ruby. Like in real life, he's just telling her how he thinks about each of these people.
Because he's previously said Ruby sucks at being a judge of character.
Yeah, and only he knows these people and could say anything about this. But the way the scene's presented, each of the characters is speaking from their own perspective about themselves in this, like, shared delusion the two characters are having. This goes on for, like, a whole minute. Every single person he's on the show with has a segment of expressing what I guess are Aqua's interpretations of their real feelings, which obviously are their real feelings, because, you know, Aqua is just, he's just the best.
I mean, he isn't. He's the jackass.
How could he get anybody wrong? That's what's so frustrating, right? It's like, I don't know what the show's trying to tell me. Is it trying to say this is exactly how all these people are? Is this just how Aqua feels? Is this how both of them feel? Because again, it's presented like a shared delusion. Aqua's
a heavenly delusion.
Aqua's not saying any of this shit to Ruby. It's all presented. They don't move either. Neither of them blinks. It's just like a minute of two chibis staring at a thought cloud. I don't know. This scene made me irrationally angry. That's why I'm going on about it so much. Then Aqua is like on a bus.
I'm on a bus.
Seemingly alone with Blonde Girl. And basically she's like, hey, I'm the airhead on the show. I'm okay with it. This scene made me upset because literally everyone in this show is a sociopath.
Yeah.
They're all thinking way too much about what they're doing. And it's not that I don't think artists and like people in the industry think about what they're doing, but they don't do it in such a way where they're constantly explaining themselves at length to one another like this. Like,
you don't constantly explain to the people around you the inner machinations of your career and mind.
I'll even say I'm surprised how little it happens. Like, I actually do... This podcast is basically me explaining every thought I've had about anime in the last week. But, like, I went to an art school, a community college, and I was always surprised how veiled people were about what they were doing. Like, everyone was always working on something. None of them could explain it. None of them could tell you why they had the... Like, artists aren't like this. Like... I think the author of this manga, Kaguya-san, was also like this. And I liked that show a lot more because it was just funny and silly and crazy. Someone asked me because they knew that originally when I saw the first episode, I didn't like it at all and I kind of shit on it. When you and I watched it together, our relationship was more similar to the Kaguya-san characters in a way that made me connect with it and understand it more. And this show goes like as much into the characters' minds, but it's not for humor. It's totally serious. And in that show, kind of the joke was that like these two characters are so similar and they don't like, they have very similar mindsets in what they're trying to do, but they have different approaches, and that's where the comedy comes in. In this show, they all just feel like the same person. It's just like a bunch of weird little sociopathic 15-year-olds thinking way too hard about what they're doing. And the only one who's kind of genuine is the one who this episode's about, and it's just about breaking her.
Yeah.
Doesn't make her interesting. We're about to get into her. Here she is. And look, I know people in real life who remind me of this character that are really just giving it their all. I don't know how this girl ended up in the entertainment industry. I don't know why she thinks this is what she has to do. But every day she trains her ass off. She does all the practice. She's like, I'm trying to be the best I can. I just don't get it. Like everything that is so obvious to the green-haired girl and to Aqua is not obvious to this girl. She's putting her effort in. She's really trying. She takes notes on everything everybody tells her. But as her producer is getting chewed out by his producer and I gotta say, this guy gave a vocal performance of the fucking century. He was
very,
literally
very good.
shouting and screaming in this scene. She's been given this chance. She's not standing out at all. So she overhears this conversation. And she's like, oh God, my guy is gonna get fired because I suck.
My guy, he got the frisbee.
Kind of embarrassing of a position to be in. There's a
Water.
cutaway. Ruby was gonna tweet about how some bottled water sucked or something. Kana's like, hey, don't you know brands? They're paying attention just like you. Look,
Hey, brand.
I work in the entertainment industry. Literally, like, this is conversations I've had. Look, I kind of appreciate it. I want to like that this show is about things I understand. Like, the fact that it gets YouTube and Twitter to any extent.
It's interesting.
I want to like that, but, like, why do I care? I don't care about fucking Ruby. She sucks. She's not a fun character. I like Kana more, but only because she's a hard ass, and even she's inconsistent as shit. I've complained about on the last episode. It's just so hard for me to really give a shit about anything happening in this show because the characters are whack. I love her outfit. That's cool. Whatever. Yeah, don't tweet about brands you want to work with in the future. So, alright, we get into the real heart of this episode. The girl who's trying her best basically tells as much to the girl who's been dominating, and she's like, hey, just so you know, I'm not going to stop dominating you. Like,
no, I'm going to destroy you.
I'm going to get
there's
all the
nothing
attention.
you can do about it.
Yeah, fuck you, you idiot. There are things I like about the visuals in this show. Her hair looks cool in this shot. All the nail designs she did were sincerely great. But there's something that, I don't know, it's weird to me with anime. I love art. I love illustrative art. I follow lots of people like that on Twitter. If I just saw screen caps from this show, I'd be more likely to retweet them than enjoy the experience of sitting through 25 minutes of it this week. I don't know why the episodes are so long. It's just the fact that the artwork is good doesn't endear me to the show as much as I think it does for probably younger audiences. Basically, the girl who's sucks realizes that she has to try to be more dramatic and accidentally slaps Popular Girl in such a way that she cuts her face. She didn't mean to do that. She has kind of a breakdown about it. Popular Girl literally hugs her and calms her down because she's
it's
so
fine.
amazing.
They can just fix it in Photoshop. Nothing matters. It's all cool.
If that girl slapped you that way, how do you think you'd have had the same reaction of I'm gonna calm you down instead of being mad that my face hurts?
She did look like she was freaking the fuck out. Blue hair girl, yeah, she was having a panic attack. I might.
I just think it was a little too. Alright, so she's not just a great actress, but also she's a good person.
That's
Okay.
not realistic at all.
So we get this whole scene. Almost the entire second half of this episode is about cyberbullying. Alright.
I'm gonna cyberbully you to finish this episode.
This was tough for me because I want to feel for this girl.
Have you ever been bullied on Twitter before? Has someone ever told you that you look like you wear small pants? This episode is for you.
I've been made fun of in real life my whole life.
Haha, yeah, right, you have. Especially with me around.
I got made... we went to a bar 2 days ago.
Fuck you, Debbie.
Where a woman gave me shit about you calling me your wife and me having a beard about it because I hadn't had time to shave that morning, and she had some comments about it. I'm just saying, since I was a child, I've been given shit to my face in real life.
They said that to me.
They said that to me at a dinner. I have been told I think you should leave since I was a little kid. So for me, bullying, my reaction to it in anime, I get really frustrated depending on how it's handled. Especially as I get older. Because current me, she's getting cyberbullied. It's the internet. It's literally fucking not real.
Cyberbullying.
Close your eyes. Walk away from the... I was shouting these things during the episode. Just walk away! Look, I get it. She's a teenager, man. I probably would have tried to kill myself at her age. I'm not gonna lie. I've had suicidal ideation since I was a teen. Bullying wasn't easy at that age. But I'm almost 32.
Bullying's never easy. You have to come up with some really creative insults.
Yeah, no.
Oh shit, I did
bullying someone else. You kicked the speaker and now it's making a tone.
There we go.
Hey, it stopped. Yeah, no. Bullying other people's easy. Being bullied, at this point, what is somebody going to say to me? I'm an adult. What are you gonna tell me that's gonna make me feel emotional?
Got a big nose.
Such that I don't have that big of a nose.
I know. I was just trying to think of something.
I'm telling you, you cannot think of something. I'm gonna sit here and be like, what, something I made fun of myself for 10 years ago? What do you mean?
Your feet are stinky. That's also not true, but I'm just trying to think
I
of
don't
stuff.
know. Your feet are fucking stinky.
Hey,
You
look.
had your feet on the air vents when I was driving home last night. God damn.
Hey, look, I do hard work every day.
We do that. Anyway, this show, I don't know, man. It's a little too young for me. I appreciate what Kito Senpai was saying. Like,
How many more episodes of this thing do we have?
of this show?
Yeah.
I think it's only 11.
So
It won't be too brutal. But I think Kito Senpai was saying, like, there's real people who this might have been based off of, who, like, have had these traumatic experiences. Again, you know, I've lived through it.
Thank you for not killing yourselves.
Yeah, alright. How does this episode go? She keeps getting
is
bullied.
standing on a highway overpass, and this makes me
I'm
upset.
gonna jump!
She does jump, and then Aqua grabs her mid-jump. She's like over the railing. She has jumped, and Aqua just comes in right in time.
Where
and just
was
picks
he?
her up. Yeah, I just doesn't. Fuck. This show.
He grabs her from falling. I was a little confused because in this shot where he grabs her, he's under her arms.
But in the next shot, he's not.
He's over her arms. I guess I can accept he rescued her, then hugged her, switched arm positions while we weren't looking, whatever. He was there in the nick of time. I guess he fucking Spidey sensed she was going to kill herself because his mom was murdered.
He's got the murder sense.
There is like 8 minutes of this episode that's just this girl reading internet comments. You know, shitty things that people say, but that aren't true. And like it shows all the hard work that she put into being herself. Man, if this makes you emotional, I get it. Like if you're a fan of people who have been really hurt. What are you pointing at?
The water.
By internet comments. I understand. You know, it's hurtful. I've just been here for 20 years. To quote mindless self-indulgence, there is nothing you can do that I've not already done to myself.
Like stream for 6 hours.
Yeah. All right. Let's move through this.
What do we got next?
Episode.
All right.
Hey, that was it for Oshi no
Dangers
Ko.
in my heart.
What score would you give that episode? Like a
4.
5 for me. 5. I appreciate the drama it was going for. It just didn't resonate with me. I couldn't appreciate it. The Dangers in My Heart was actually kind of cute this week.
It's always kind of cute. But
That's
it was
true.
particularly cute. It starts off with, I think her name's like Ro or something, being Anna's chair. But she grabs Anna's boobs, and Anna bans her from being her chair.
Yeah, she's usually got the other girl that's like her husband or whatever. That boyfriend. Boyfriend's not here. This girl, she sits on her lap and gets her boobs grabbed. I think this is really interesting. What our main character is sort of observing here is that Anna likes physical like interaction, but not sexual interaction. So she's got like a little bit of prudishness, but she still really wants to be around and touched by people, and she feels safe with other girls. This scene I loved because so the reason that boyfriend wasn't there, she was out sick. She shows up the next day and asks Kyotaro if he will help them study. And basically Anna's like jealous. She's like, how dare you invite him to this? But she's like, you should be doing this. Like, this guy's smart and you are an idiot and you could be learning and you'd be bonding and you obviously fucking like him. Like, she's talking to him like, hey, how come you're able to talk to her normally and not other girls? Because normally you're all like, I can't speak. Like, she's super perceptive. She's clearly trying to hook them up. She understands what's happening. I thought this was a cute scene. And then it's parent-teacher conference day.
And so Anna's mom and fucking
Kyotaro.
wow, same as that weird little
Yeah, the stupid robot from Magical Destroyers.
Yeah, so Anna's mom and Kyotaro's mom and Anna are all hanging out, and Anna and Kyotaro's mom trade a candy or something.
Yes. Also, well, like, she realizes it's Kyotaro's mom, so she's all, like, embarrassed because she's, like, got a ton of loaded feelings towards this guy. Yeah, and, like, meeting, you know, an important person. She really appreciates, like, oh my god, I'm meeting the boy I like's mom. And, like, the mom has never heard of this girl. The boy doesn't know this is happening.
He finds out, though, and he's freaked out.
This scene is so fucking adorable. It's just him and his mom are walking down the hallway, not realizing she's behind them. And the mom's like, I didn't realize you had such a beautiful girl in your class. What's her name? And he immediately is like, Anna. And she's right behind them, so she hears this, and he's like, oh, fuck. But she blows past like she didn't hear it, you know. There's a scene where they're both trying to walk home in the rain. She basically ends up with his umbrella while he takes his bike home. She's trying to put a bag on his head.
She's trying to suffocate him because she's the real serial killer.
No, she said he needed eye holes, and he said that's not the problem. But she, like, forgot something in his basket, so he rides his bike back through the rain to get back to her. She runs back through the terminal.
Hang on. I just remembered something. In the library scene, when Chi is trying to get Kyotaro and Anna together, Chi goes, you know, Anna's pretty weird. Just last week, we were eating crepes, and Anna got some whipped cream on her face. And to try and get it off, she put the rest of the crepes whipped cream on her face.
She tried to wipe whipped cream off with more whipped cream.
It was pretty adorable.
It just got her face worse. I did forget about that. So yeah, he, like, brings her back her snacks. She pets him on the head. I was gonna wait until tomorrow. This is my favorite scene in the episode. So Kyotaro's asleep. He has a weird dream where he first encounters a giant version of Anna. And, like, already I'm thinking, like, you know, we've talked about the psychosexual angle of this show. He's into giant girls. He's a really small guy. But while the big version of her is standing over him, there's also a small version begging to be let up. And, like, this whole show, we've sort of been studying how Anna is kind of, she needs help.
Yeah.
There's a couple Twitter users I can think of who remind me of Anna, actually. Really hot girls who probably shouldn't be let out of their house. Because you're like, I don't know if you'd make it in the real world. And, like, he simultaneously views her as, like, this unstoppable beauty, this idol, like, in need of guardianship and protection.
And a total dumbass.
Yeah, like, it goes weirdly both ways. Like, I need to be her white knight, but also I am in eternal service to her, you know? And so I thought this was a really interesting way to present that psychologically. Also, she, like, comes to visit him while he's sick, and he's so sick he doesn't actually seem to realize how intimate the scene really is. She's, like, actually there to take care of him and super concerned about him.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of in such a fever. He is still convinced she's trying to make fun of him, like, low-key, that this is all, like, a ploy to tease him or something. But we even see post-credits how, like, she showed up at the house, talked to the mom. She's so flustered after talking to his mom that she walks into a light pole.
Hey, I can relate to that. I've done that before.
You have walked into a light pole out of being flustered. That is pretty funny. So yeah, that's The Dangers in My Heart. It was cute. Nothing really that interesting happened. It's just really beating you over the head with, like, yeah, she likes him. Yeah, she likes him.
Young love. Alright, Dead Mount Death Play. Dead Mount Death Play, Dead Mount Death Play. Let's play some Dead's Mounts.
You've been Dead Mount Death Played is something you said to me last time.
Yeah, it's a
this
good one.
show.
So what happens this week? I don't quite remember. I remember it gets a lot better. How do we start?
This is my favorite episode of Dead Mount Death Play. And I think something was different here. I don't know if it was the storyboarder, the episode director. The cinematography is just better. I liked this shot. And now, granted, it's not consistent. You'll go from a shot that you're like, damn, that was really cool, to like something just totally mid and normal, like right afterwards. But like, I noticed from this shot onwards, so this episode is, you know, our main character, the corpse god, inside the body of Polka, the direct son of a rich family with a bunch of siblings and other people. He's trying to figure out what his family's about, so he's gone to visit the mansion that they live in, along with the girl that he resurrected. I can't even remember her fucking name.
The zombie.
They go to the mansion. The visuals are okay. The dialogue is very mundane. I thought this shot was neat. There's Polka and the family, you know. It's Polka and Zombie Girl sitting next to each other with the two twins next to them. And on the other side of the table is Scary Mysterious Brother, two girls we've never met, and a big
Takeru, I think his name is.
And the way the lighting is in this scene, like there's one open window that's behind the main characters, casting backlight on them that makes them kind of glow. But the other side of the table, the light isn't reaching that far. So all of them are cast in shadow. And it creates this cool, mysterious dichotomy. The digital lighting looks good. I said in the first episode, this show looks expensive. Even though it sucks. Though the visuals... There's a
lot of cool animation.
There's cool animation. There's cool lighting effects. I think the character designs are decent sometimes. But they're just very inexpressive. It's not the designs, it's the way they're just, they don't say anything with their faces. So anyway, this scene goes on forever. Polka, they're at home, they're meeting the family. One girl's like really into movies. The granddad shows up. There's like the guy who's just there to try to make a deal with him, but the granddad's like, fuck you. And then he's like, if he had been more serious, I would have considered it. I don't know. This whole scene sucks. The rest of the episode's fine. Polka gets up to greet his dad. It's not his granddad.
Yeah, it's his dad. He's the son of an old man.
They're all gray-haired, even Polka. I don't know why I think he's... Anyway.
Well, but this old man is specifically old and dying.
Yeah. Polka meets his dad. His dad's like, you're supposed to say, I'm home, man. Like, you don't need to be embarrassed about running away. He very clearly knows this is not his son. They go into a different room. He's like,
hey, you're not my son.
You're not my son.
Holds a sword to his throat.
Don't take me for a fool. I know Polka. And, like, the whole time, Polka is, in a shark plushie that is on... Corpse God's shoulders. So he's there.
One of the Shinomiya or Shinoyama family is a huge fan of the franchise that the shark is from. It's like Robo Shark 4 or something.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a detail.
But she's not a fan of like the robot part of it. She just really likes shark movies.
So much random fucking shit in this show. This scene rules. Halfway through the episode, we cut back. So we've known that these twins are being haunted by a ghost. It's implied that it was somebody in the family. Now we learn who that is. Their older sister, Shizuka. She was just asked, the younger, they come running in. The younger sister's like, I lost my purse. She's like, I'm going to go find it for you. What's so interesting about this scene is that it's presented in first person. It's a optical view of, her like deciding that she's going to help these kids. She goes out into the forest and there are these people who are literally planning to murder the children for, I don't know.
Money or something.
Why? They're having a conversation about it. She overhears. They hear her rustling in the bushes.
Her, I think is what it is.
Yeah, he's like, I smell something
delicious.
And it's like a fireman. And so there's this really awesome shot where you just see her arm extending, and the background shifts from the woods to like inside the castle house they live in, to like inside the room. Like she's imagining herself making it back to the kids. She's like, I need to make it back. I need to make it back. And so like in her mind, her arm is reaching all the way there. But then eventually all those backgrounds just give way to fire. And it's revealed like her arm burns away and she's just been burned to a crisp.
Disintegration scene.
Immediately murdered by the bad guy. Just the imagery of the idea of trying to reach all the way back through all these locations that you know exactly where the kids are and how you would get there.
Yeah.
But like that path that seems so obvious and so immediate is a million miles away because something faster than you is going to kill you from behind.
And so she dies and becomes the ghost that's haunting the twins.
Yes. This is the kind of thing that happens in my dreams a lot.
Ooh.
I'm always reduced in speed trying to get somewhere. It's really frustrating. We also learned that apparently the fire person, they're called the fire bug, I believe.
Yeah, the fire-breathing bug.
They keep leaving a message that says, "This world is a buggy program."
It demands fire or something.
This reminds me of there's another anime writer who really likes to use what are the TV tropes for this is arc words, like words that keep coming up throughout an arc of a show to implicate something. There was an I can't even remember the name of it, but there's another anime that did this with like burn marks in the walls. But yeah, like it's like, ooh, mysterious, cool, a phrase that somebody is obviously obsessed with because they think the world is bad. I don't know. Fucking Psycho-Pass 2 did that, and I hated it in that show. In this one, the zombie girl, gets into a fight with Firestarter Man because she's like, if you're in the line of work of killing people, you must know who I am. And he's like, of course!
Saki, the killer. How could I not?
We encountered each other just in the last episode when the kids came to the business. This guy was one of the guys who was there, and they both sensed the killer instinct in one another, but didn't bring it up at the time because it would be I don't know, this kind of writing doesn't do a lot for me. When they're like retconning in reasons they recognize one another are powerful, I don't give a shit. But they have a fight. I don't know if I'd call it cool. There's not a lot of cool animation in this one. He's got fire. They're in like a wine cellar.
Cellar? I hardly know her.
The fight leads to a bunch of explosions and shit. The main, corpse god is like protecting the children for the ghost's sake. I liked some of the shots in this. I do think this shot actually looks better with the text on screen filling that little bit of weird space at the bottom.
Yeah.
But this episode had a bunch of good cinematography. This shot, this is old school gangster cinema where you just see a car going along and then 4 other cars surround it and you're like, uh-oh, that guy's gonna die. I love that kind of shit. I like when anime is communicating with imagery. Also, this episode gets really weird at the end because Firestarter Man is also a master of disguise, I guess. He has stolen faces of people. And he took a face off a maid, so now he's like, he just looks like a woman but has a voice of like a deep-voiced man, which, I don't know. Is this trans? Is this true? You know that like meme of the guy with the butterfly? Yeah. Is this trans? That's me right now. I just thought it was really funny hearing the deep voice coming out of the main character that it doesn't fit at all. Entertaining. But ultimately where this goes, Corpse God senses that there are 2 living things beyond this fire. Because one of them is fucking lemmings who just, stops the maid, and then I guess Corpse God and Zombie Girl leave? It's fucking really not clear. Like, Lemmings shows up, stops maid girls, and then fucks off again, as he's wont to do, as we've talked about before. So, like, Lemmings pops out of the fire, knocks this maid out, walks back into the fire, is gone. And then, I don't know, the main characters also leave? Because nothing else in the episode... Like, we see more of Firestarter Man, but it doesn't involve any of those characters. Lemmings isn't there. Main character is not there. There's a guy who's about to get, like, fucking murdered by these people that are called, like, I don't know, the Dragon Coalition or some shit. Like, the leader of them says, I don't remember calling us that. I just gathered together all the best of the people in our organization. This show is a real thing for smiling girls with big tits unveiling their cool weapons. You remember us praising the sword girl and the machine gun girl from a couple episodes ago. This episode has a girl with big tits who unfolds this like Swiss Army knife. I guess she's going to torture the guy in the chair with all these devices. I don't fucking know. It's a lot. Yeah, she's like a biker. I don't know. She's Celty, I guess. So Fireman, who fought Lemmings, after Lemmings knocked him out, I don't really understand how he ended up in a car.
The police took him into a car. The
police took him. Okay. The police take him into a car, and as the car is going down the road...
This world is a buggy program.
It appears on the roof of the car, and he's like, oh shit, and then like... there's like 6 other people in the car.
They start calling him an imposter, and...
They're all robots.
Turn into the same face or something.
And they're like, imposter, bug eater, man, fires must be eliminated. So the car catches on fire, and then...
But no, only he catches on fire, I think.
I think he catches on fire, and like it burns through the roof of the car or something. And then on top of a bridge nearby, there's like
some girl with an umbrella.
Pink-haired girl, and her umbrella says fire safety on top. This is very, very Ryogo Narita, the guy who created Durarara and Bakudo. The thought of a character who has a umbrella that says fire safety, who uses fire techniques. This is like... Ryogo Narita is in the genre of what I call Seven Psychopaths. There's a movie called that also, about this genre of just like, it's a bunch of weirdos with special powers, and they're all like, what's the most ironic thing they could do? Like, umbrella, fire safety, but umbrellas protect you from water! Like, that level of logic. This was still the best episode of Dead Mount Death Play. I'd give it like... a light 6. A light to decent 6. What do you think?
Yeah, 6. It's fine. It's not as bad as it has been.
It was better than Oshinoko.
Yeah, it was. That's unfortunate. It was
more entertaining. Next up is Jigoku Raku. This was kind of a mid-episode of this show.
We didn't even see Gabimaru at all.
No, yeah, none of the fucking main characters are in this episode of Jigoku Raku.
Alright, so I'm going to go quickly through this one because I didn't love it. So this time we're with the blonde guy and the kind of like tribal beastie little girl.
Yeah.
They're fighting...
Islander, we'll say.
They're fighting one of the like godlike creatures who looks like this when they have been somewhat dismembered. And they're just they're curious, like, hey, did you kill all these things?
Are they people? Are they plants?
They're people plants.
A lot of this episode is just kind of like a fight. It's pretty straightforward. They're trying to kill this thing, and it's impossible.
We learned that blonde guy has really fast sword technique.
I don't know. I think this episode was difficult for me just because the last episode already pretty much established that these things are like invincible.
Indestructible, yeah.
Yeah, like regular human strength, regular badass. Like, I don't know, King of the Mountain guy was pretty badass. He lost.
He's still alive. He might be okay.
That's true. We haven't seen him die explicitly, but like, and that also could be true of Blonde Man here. This episode is just a little frustrating structurally because the first few minutes, they're fighting this plant demon along with Blind Man.
Blind Man is Blonde Man's master and trained him to be cool. So yeah, he's rank 4. This guy's pretty alright. I enjoy him. He threatens to kill the short prisoner, the island girl, and he also threatens to kill the blonde guy. But ultimately, they decide to work together.
Also, he did kill that woman who was trying to
prostitute
seduce.
woman.
Yes. He was the guy, because we couldn't remember if he had been shown before at first.
Yeah.
But he was the guy who was with the girl who was, yeah, the slut, I guess. And
a courtesan.
in this scene, we were really, like, debating back and forth, is this guy gonna live?
Yeah, it was very unclear. It was like one of them has to die, right?
A lot of these Asaimon are squishy, and as soon as they express some kind of, like, belief that, I don't know, the manga author wouldn't like, they just die. Like, you know, we've seen plenty of, you're a woman, you shouldn't fight.
Though I will
immediately.
say, this time that isn't really true. Blonde guy didn't really say anything bad, and he gets fucked. Like, he just gets destroyed.
That's true, but we don't know if he's dead yet.
That is true.
But we were debating back and forth, like, because when Silverman was trying to attack Islander Girl, because he's like, she's a criminal, you're committing some kind of problem by protecting
and then
her.
Blonde guy was like, you took a chance on me, I'm gonna take a chance on her.
And Silver-haired buys into it. He's like, yeah, you know what? I'll help you guys. And we're like, all right, maybe he'll live.
4 holes to the chest immediately.
So, we were frustrated in the last episode. I talked about how Evangelion episode 2 did this cool dramatic thing with its pacing, and how Dead Mount Deathplay never cut back to the action to explain what was going on. This show does cut back to the action, but it's very frustrating because look at this. He's just dead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's dead.
He shot through the heart, and also the lungs, and also the windpipe, and also the stomach, and probably the kidney, and some liver.
And this is right after the other guy, like, had his throat slit. Like, they're both dead.
But the other guy's fine. He ties himself up real quick.
We don't know. Like, this scene presents it like,
This
bam,
episode is very unfulfilling.
evil monster kills both of the cool guys we just met. You were pissed. You were like...
We got, like... Well, it's mostly because we got, like, 15 minutes of them... Or maybe we're about to get that. We get, like, 15 minutes of them just, like, having a master-student relationship and eventually being bros.
That's what was so
and
aggravating.
It's like, these guys are really about to die right now?
I guess I didn't take that many screencasts, but... Yeah, so... It's only like maybe 13, 14 minutes into the episode, that they both get stabbed. It looks like they're dead. And then there's like a solid 8 or 9 minutes of just backstory. And the whole time you're going, are they fucking dead or not? Like, why are you telling me so much about these characters? I can't tell if they're dead. And I don't know if I can trust the show to think that there's going to be, like, a satisfying payoff to this. Because, like, characters just kind of die in this show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't tell what it was going for. And it was frustrating for a while. Because it does a lot of backstory. And, like, it gets to a point where I'm kind of thinking, well, they can't be dead. Like, there's no reason to tell us this much about characters we just watched die.
I think Blonde Guy's gonna get given the immortality juice.
I think it's possible. I mean, so basically the whole backstory is that the blonde dude grew up like training under Silverhand Man, and originally he didn't give a fuck. He was like, I don't want to be a samurai, I don't care about any of this. But he was so frustrated by wanting to get one hit off on Silver that by the time he got good enough to actually do that, he respected him and asked to be his pupil. It takes a lot of time for this to play out, and it's fine. Traditional samurai story, I get it. It's not very unique, but it's fine. I just wouldn't care if I thought both characters were already dead.
Which I do.
And at the end of the episode, basically, Blondie sacrifices himself so that silver-haired girl can run away. He can save her and escape. She's upset about it. They're both upset. They're like, we want to save him, but we can't. Plant Monster kind of murders him, but it doesn't do like a big send-off. There's not like I'm gonna cut him into a billion pieces, which I thought might happen.
Yeah. But
instead, the episode like ends with his corpses on the ground, and there's like a flower petal falling on his ninja headband, and you think, he's not dead enough. Not enough for my standards. Not quite dead. But that was a whole episode. Literally, no other characters showed up in this except for Blonde, Silver, and Islander Girl. So
Skip and Loaf. Skip and Loaf, Skip and Loaf, Skip and Loaf.
Let's skip to my Loafer, and I'll say, even though this was probably one of the better episodes of this week, it still was.
It was mid.
It was relatively mid for this show.
But good news, Skip has been nominated for Student Council Secretary. Woohoo! She's finally getting her accolades like she deserves.
Yeah, I don't know. This episode feels weirdly interstitial. Like, it's lots of little details that would, like, if something more interesting happened in this episode, all the other stuff would be fine, but nothing that interesting happens in this episode. It's just a bunch of little details that kind of catch us up where the characters are at. So yeah, Skip, she's been nominated for Student Council Secretary. There's a fake out scene where she's like, obviously the new president.
This girl's going to be president, of course. There's no way anyone else could possibly have the experience in government. Soccer Man shows up.
Hiroto Kazami, year 2. And I want to mention this. It was pointed out to us by our friend Asher that this is not a shoujo manga.
It's a seinen manga.
It is seinen. It is aimed at adult men, like our podcast. And which is apparently 100% adult men. But this manga ran in a seinen magazine, in spite of all the flowers and all the slice of lifeiness of it. I definitely think this was written by somebody who loves shoujo manga, but just trying to do it from like a little bit more of an adult perspective. And I do think that's what makes it so enjoyable for us. Like, most shoujo manga would probably be a little too saccharine and kind of juvenile for our tastes, but we both love Skip and Loafer, and you know, it's a little bit more refined, a little more mature. I don't know anything about the author of it, but I know that it runs in that kind of magazine. This episode has some interesting... it has the kinds of sequences that I consider memorable, but while also being kind of super tangential to the show. Silver-haired guy who runs the drama club takes everyone away to show them his first ever home movie. Something he made when he was like 7. That's just like him on an adventure, and he shows it to them hoping that they will laugh at how embarrassing it is. This is a very realistic scene. Like, it's something that feels supernatural and like, yeah, this would happen. But it's also so out of place. There's nothing to do with the story that we're experiencing. It just kind of happens. I really hope that they're building something really big with this character, the guy who runs the
drama club.
Because, like, everything about him is mega interesting, but he really has nothing to do with the story. There's a scene where he's talking about how he actually thinks it would be cool to be vice president of the student council because you have more to do, but it strikes a nerve with the girl who did not win. And
she's not happy about it. And Skip feels bad.
So we learn more about the guy who is president. Apparently he was soccer team captain. He's very popular with the boys, and he's good looking, so the girls like him. And basically, our girl, vice president, is like, as long as I can give him my notebook that I've been writing in of everything I'm going to do when I'm president,
everything will be fine.
maybe things will turn out okay. It's really cute. I like this character detail. I like that she's been doing this. Like, she's so prepared to be president that she thinks her preparedness might help the president. Good cope. Yeah, here's him actually showing them the home movie.
Where he's doing Godzilla, right? He's doing like a Godzilla thing?
I don't even remember, even though it was a lengthy scene, but I just remember the sentiment of it. Yeah, skip on the train on her way home. We see her aunt again. And she's like, oh, you're into this Shiba boy.
And then she hates him immediately.
Who the fuck is this motherfucker? Yeah, she's ready to do some investigative journalism, I think.
Some investigative journalism.
I thought this scene was funny. The guys are explaining in a very dangers in my heart kind of way about how when spring vacation starts, or summer vacation, I don't know why I said spring. He's literally, the subtitles are on the screen. When summer vacation starts, everybody in school doesn't see each other for a while. So there's a rush to try to ask out whoever you're trying to date so that you'll be able to see them during the summer. And everybody's worried about this, and so they're confessing to Shima, who basically is known to blow off every single woman who tries to propose to him.
Because they're not trying to be his... They're not trying to be his friends. They're after his dick.
As Ellen Horizon said, you give love a bad name. That's what they all do. I don't know what you were saying that about.
It's because I said shot through the heart, and also the stomach, and also the lungs.
Anyway, Loafer says... So, this scene is really cute. Skip is trying to invite Loafer...
To go to the zoo, right?
To go to the zoo, and she's like, I'll invite everybody. But she ends up saying, Futari, meaning the two of us, when inviting him. So she has accidentally invited him on a date.
Bum, bum, bum.
He's totally okay with this. She thinks that that's because she is non-threatening. Like, he must just think that I'm somebody he could hang out with. I don't know. I think it might be a date.
It's a date.
I think it's cute. A date. I love them.
Skip and Loaf.
At the end of the episode, a woman, or girl, I guess, she's their age, but she shows up, very mysterious.
Oh, right, she knows Skip. Or Loafer. She knows Loafer.
Yeah, Loafer has to, escort her off the premises, you're trespassing. They're like, what was her deal? And then Mika's like, that girl is a pinup girl on this magazine. Whoa, she's famous. Not unlike Shiba, who I think he's a model.
He was a child actor. Maybe he's still a model, but it's not. I don't remember.
At the very least, he's a basketball star. She knows him. It's mysterious why. And we'll find out next time. Again, kind of a middling episode. I'd give this a light 7. Nothing exceptionally interesting happened. It was fine. It's relaxing. I could never be mad at this show.
6 out of 10.
It's fine. Yeah. Alright, what's next? What did I put next in the queue? This was actually my favorite episode.
This was a great episode of Pokemon
Horizon.
I would say this was the least mid episode of the week, probably. We got some really good Quaxley action.
Yeah.
Or Kuvasu.
Well, I've been feeling this a little bit, and now I'm finally willing to kind of give it credit. I know this show's going to be forever long. There's going to be 200 episodes minimum of Pokemon Horizons. It's very slow. Not a lot happens per episode. But I can tell that everything I want to happen will eventually. It just has the space. It has the time. It's letting you know, hey, there's mysteries. There's characters you want to know about. There's growth you want to see. We are in no fucking hurry to get there. This is not Magical Destroyers. We're not rushing through. Every episode really takes its time, and that's fine. It's a kids show. I love Pokemon. I've been watching it since I was a child. You can't do that much wrong with me if you're gonna give me some stuff like this. This episode starts off with kind of revealing who is behind the
Nidoran thing. Is what the Nido thing.
This, by the way, I'm pretty sure this is Adobe Premiere. This editing software that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so basically the person who makes the educational videos about Pokemon with Quaxley as a co-star is the niece of, I don't remember his
the guy
name.
with the rock ruff.
Yeah, the black guy in the Rising Volteckers. His niece is the one who makes these videos. We haven't seen her face yet. It matters that he's black. We're going to get to that in a second.
It matters?
It does. We're exploring the Rising Volteckers ship. There's all these different rooms we've been to before. It's cute. It's fun. This show, it does like to kind of go over the same notes again. And I think that's fine. Again, if you have a show that's supposed to go on forever, little kids have to find out about this show. Like, when I found out about Pokemon, it had been out. You know, like, I didn't watch episode 1, day 1 of it airing ever. Actually, I might have done that, but that's because I had seen the VHS tapes beforehand of the first 7 episodes. Because they put it out before they actually debuted it. But, you know, it was always clear that there's like a fuckload that's going to happen in the story, and this show is, again, really carefully paced. So no, we do not learn who that girl is. We never meet the niece.
We just get told off by a Quaxley.
She sends her Quaxley out with like a note in its feathers that says like, fuck off. I could beat you in a battle.
Because Nyoha and Hogeter, basically, they're not good at battling, and neither are Roy or Liko. They don't know what they're doing. They can't battle. They just keep spamming attacks, basically.
Yeah. Well, and the Pokemon, well, we'll get to this, but they're not looking at each other. That's their problem.
Yeah.
They're just spewing attacks. And they get tired really easily. So, yeah, like, they're trying to get better because they think that basically Quaxley Girl is challenging them. Like, hey, I'm not going to acknowledge you until you could actually fight me. This is why it matters that our boy Roy is black, because in this scene...
No, he's fist bumping.
They sign up for the Rising Volteckers, who have their own app. And joining the app is proof that they've joined the team. As soon as they join the team, Roy turns around and the two brothers in this show fist bump and then do this weird thing where they both kind of like raise and lower their hands at each other. It's the most surreal, like, culturally divided interpretation of a black handshake I have ever seen, and I really enjoyed it. It was really funny. Shout out my friends who have been commenting on the low-key blackness that Pokemon is trying to incorporate, because this show wants to be the most multicultural it can be. And I'll say, I don't even think Roy is supposed to be, like, black. I think he's a southern islander of Japan. There are multiple races of what are considered Japanese people, and one that has been kind of held down historically is the darker-skinned one that Mugen was a part of in Samurai Champloo. Point being, I think Roy is supposed to be a Japanese island race, but I also think that guy is actually black, and it's really funny that they do, like, a handshake. Anyways, Quaxley, yeah, he's got messages. He's like, y'all are not gonna meet the girl unless you're good enough. They think they're going to go train against Charizard.
But then Captain Pikachu is like, I'm gonna take you on.
Captain Pikachu basically just starts maxing out. Like,
yeah,
he's just standing there showing off the massiveness of his aura like a fucking badass shonen character. This is where the scene suddenly gets amazing. So, like, in old Pokemon, right? Ash had this Pikachu that
didn't evolve.
Never
he
evolved.
Wouldn't evolve it.
Team Rocket sort of mistakenly thought that Pikachu was like all powerful because in the second episode, an army of Pikachu blows up a Pokemon Center, and they think it was just Ash's Pikachu that did it. That's why they're trying to get Pikachu. But eventually it becomes true that Ash's Pikachu is OP as fuck, and like he won't even use it in a lot of early episodes of like new seasons because you're meant to think like, well, that's Ash's Pikachu. Like he releases all his other Pokemon.
Yeah.
They all go free eventually. Pikachu's always there, always getting stronger. So like you have this idea in your mind of Pikachu being really powerful, but Pikachu also jobs a lot. Where like there's tons of episodes where Pikachu just loses and like eats ass, and it's very inconsistent, and Pokemon fans have always been kind of frustrated with it. This show basically
Pikachu is the best.
It asks the question, like, if Ash's Pikachu is as badass as it is, what is the most badass a Pikachu could possibly be? Like, we're not trying to make this the main character's Pokemon. This is just like all chains off. How cool could Pikachu be?
So Pikachu starts Narutoing them and creating a bunch of shadow clones.
Literally using the shadow clone jutsu. And I love this especially because, like, Captain Pikachu, the voice is the same as regular Pikachu. It's always been Otani Ikue. I think she's one of the most legendary voice actresses ever for this role. She's been doing it since fucking 97. Yeah, like, it's crazy. And Captain Pikachu has like a deeper voice than regular Pikachu. Like it's different. It's a different character.
They finally switched up her role a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and for somebody who she's got to be in her 50s at this point, so like
20 years of saying Pika Pika.
I'm just glad they let her do it in a little like a lower voice, like a lower octave. It's got to be a little painful to Pika. You like hit those fucking high notes. But yeah, Captain Pikachu is doing literal Naruto moves. Basically, the main point of this fight is that both the trainers and the Pokemon realize they need to like actively watch what their opponent is doing to be able to fight. Which I think it's cute that this show is starting with like such basics of like, yeah, I don't know fucking shit. You know? I do think the original show was more or less like that, and over the years we've always had the expectation, because Ash has been around for so long, like, he must know the basics. They usually introduce, like, a side character that they teach everything to. I think it's a little more effective to, like, reset to 0 and, like, both characters have no fucking idea what they're doing, you know? It makes it feel fresh again in a way that, like... there's nothing about, like, I will complain about how thin this show is because I'm fucking in my 30s and this is a show for literal 3-year-olds. I would have never had a problem with this as a kid.
No, it's great.
It's highly entertaining. This scene is really funny because...
they're all eating snacks because they're tired from battling.
Yeah, and...
Yoha likes bitter food.
They've got the... what the hell's that cream Pokemon called that helped them cook?
I forget.
But yeah, they make the food. What's her name? Liko. Liko wants to eat her fucking Yahoja's food. She's an idiot.
Bitch eating Pokemon food.
It's too bitter. Because obviously all Pokemon have their own style of food. This is another one of those moments where I was like, of course I know this. I've been watching Pokemon since I was a kid, and they literally say this exact thing in the original show, but I also appreciate it being reestablished. Hey, children need to know. Pokemon eat different things. Don't be an idiot. Don't eat your Poke food. You know, these are real facts kids need to know. Anyway, Yahoja beats Hogator, even though it's
new
grass.
Move. Extreme Speed, I think. I think she uses Extreme Speed on him. Or something like that.
Accept this purely for the reason that I think Nyahoja has been fighting a little longer and might be higher leveled in like.
Because otherwise,
game logic.
Hogator should kick ass.
Yeah, Hogator's a fire type. Obviously, he should win, but he's not that experienced.
Right. Quaxley gives them a map of Paldea, and it's like, map.
Huge scare quotes around the word map. But yeah, they gotta find that black Rayquaza.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Pokemon. We did it.
Yep. All right. What is
Heavenly
this?
Delusion.
No, this is KamiKatsu.
Oh.
This was also kind of a mid-episode, unfortunately, and like, I love the arc.
Alright, so we're finishing up all the sexy stuff.
There's moments in this episode I enjoyed, but like, we've made fun of KamiKatsu for being low budget. This episode hit a new low of like, they really were trying to save as much as they could. It's not that nothing interesting happens. But anyway, the episode starts with, we established last time, Loki and Bertrand and Loki went back to the capital to see what's going on. And Loki points out that, like, in the absence of the supercomputer running everything, the sick and the dead are abandoned in various spots in the city. And overall, there is disorder. And Loki's like, yo, what do you own the world? How do you own disorder? It's fine. We don't really know what they're doing yet. This is all they show up for in this episode. But yeah, Loki's got to do something about this, I guess. Is Loki a good guy? A bad guy? Is Loki a guy? They use ore as a self-referential pronoun, but have tits. Anyways, in this scene, in the last episode, we left off that, I don't remember purple hair girl's name, god damn it. Riche, yes. Riche, she wants to bring down this organization, and we learn that, even though she's never had sex, she used to be a big collector of forbidden books, much like our girl.
Ow.
They're both forbidden book lovers together, but she's still kind of a prude about it. She doesn't want the sex the way Al does. Also, meanwhile,
in the Batcave,
our girl Mitama is losing all of her followers and her powers because back home in the village, Atar is destroying all the monsters. This is kind of an unfortunate screen cap, but there's only like 3 frames of animation of this giant strange beast being blown to pieces.
It's a very large beast.
It's huge. It's like Jason and the Argonauts big. Wait, that's not the one. What's the one where the guy is giant and he gets tied down by all the tiny
Gulliver's Travel.
Gulliver's Travels. It's like Gulliver's Travels big. And then Atara blows it to pieces, and she gains literally all of Mitama's followers. We'll get to that momentarily. Riche is like leaving her session with the main characters now on her side. Everybody else wants to fuck them, and she's like, are you trying to fuck them without me? And they're like, oh, she really does take all the newcomers. She's such a slut. So, her conceit is still working. And then we learn, I'm not going to lie, this episode's a little slow, so I figured out more of what was going on when I watched it back. Dakini, the leader of the sect, is basically got a bunch of factions all over the world that she travels between. And we use this Super Mario World visualizer, which is pretty cute, to show her doing that. But because of the fact that she spends a couple of weeks between each branch of her thing, they have time to train to take it over before she gets back. And the structure
they
of this
introduced
episode,
vibrators, basically.
Yeah. Main guy, being is that he's well trained in the occult, is giving us some very important advice. Look, we work full time, we travel across the country. It would be really difficult for us to get this show done on time every single week, but we're dedicated. You know why? Because if you miss a single week, you're fucked. And that's what our guy tells us. Like, if you're not around, someone else is just going to take all your followers. They're going to be, during a period where my videos got too weird, Mother's Basement was right there. Scoop up all my subs and make them his. And that's exactly what happened to the cult that our main character belonged to. They accumulated lots of members from other cults whose leaders went missing. So that's what they're planning to use as the gap to get this bitch. And also, Mitama can summon all these fun sex toys based on our main character's knowledge of, the modern world, which is actually the past of this world. I think he might have forgotten that.
I don't think so.
Oh boy, can you explain what happened to Pervert Man?
So Pervert Man had a one-on-one session with Dakini where Dakini basically convinced him that he's never going to get laid by a woman, so it's okay to love his hand.
His hand is a legitimate lover. He is so inspired by this concept that now he's a total devotee. He's okay with his life, I guess. He can be a virgin now because his hand is okay. It's enough to make him a traitor. This is pretty funny. I love
They're
this.
in the spanking thing now.
So Dakini sees that Riche is trying to tell her followers to do things that she didn't say. So she says, lock them all up. And this show has a lot of these scenes that are like 8-bit, where it just goes into pixel art.
A good example of saving money.
It is, but this scene actually isn't strictly pixel art. It's actually 3D. It's harder to tell in this image, but she walks from one side of this like trap that they're into the other in a 3D environment. It looks really cool. There's only a couple shots like that, but I'm a huge fan of that aesthetic. So she's got them all locked up, looking like they're ready for a big spanking. This was a little frustrating. We've talked again. All these shows keep doing the anachronic storytelling.
Not a fan.
When it's not really necessary.
We could have just done this last week.
There was literally no reason not to just do all these events in order. I guess it's a little more dramatic that, like, she starts interrogating Purple, then we learn why Purple can withstand the interrogation, then we cut back to her doing so. But the pacing is weird, because, like, you're in the spanking scene, then you suddenly cut to, okay, let's do what we had been doing for the 3 weeks that we were just discussing leading up to the spanking scene. And then we cut back to the spanking scene, and it's only when she's using the fruits of her skills that you feel like, okay, now we're finally making progress. Again, this could have been ordered normally, and it would not have made a difference. It would have been probably better, actually.
Yeah.
And also, unfortunately, when we cut to how the training worked, it literally reuses most of the animation from the previous episode of main guy, all his clothes exploding off. He seduces her. Practically the only difference is that...
She pees herself again.
Yeah, she's wearing a collar this time. That's it. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the images are literally the same. It's like watching a magical girl transformation, but, like, it's a joke that was really funny the first time, and now it's like, oh, it's that again. I mean, it was funny last time. I'm not gonna laugh again.
So, Riche is in the spanking machine, just basically talking about how much she loves Dakini. It's all an act, of course. She wants everyone else to follow her, or feel sympathy for her, at least.
Basically, it turns out that she is just a better cult leader than Dakini. Like, that's the main twist here is... main guy recognized the potential in her as somebody who understands better than Dakini does, like, how this should all be done. So she gets the crowd to support her. She, like, is basically begging for mercy in a way that gets the crowd to beg for mercy because they can't see how she's done anything wrong as per their faith. It's pretty clever. I like all the plot elements of this episode. It's just that the way they're presented is a little awkward. This is a funny scene where Pervert Man, having betrayed them, has locked all the main characters in like a jail cell, and he's, you know, talking about his hand being his only true lover. This has to be an Attack on Titan parody, like the way it's drawn.
It's Connie.
It's literally Connie. Yeah, when he like locked them, that happened, right? He locked them all away in that show, and he gave a speech about it.
Yeah, I think so, because of his mom being a Titan.
Yeah. Definitely very Attack on Titan. I thought that was funny. All right. That's
Is
enough.
this the final one?
KamiKatsu.
Are we here?
This can't be the final one, can it? No, Dr. Stone is always the one I put last.
Oh,
Heavenly Delusion
I'm so sleepy.
was really emotional this week.
It was very sad.
It was really fucking sad and fucked up.
So we pick back up with the medical protesters, and pretty much devolves immediately. One of the protesters throws a rock, breaks some glass. The science people throw one back, and the woman without a leg loses her balance, falls, and cracks her head. It's unclear if she's dead or not.
She's sort of their leader. I think she's dead. What was more unclear to me was, like, did she die from this, or did the guy who took over her faction, like, kill her? It's a little unclear. Maybe it'll be explained more, but it does seem like the faction they are protesting just simply threw a rock. I don't even know if it hit her, like, if she was trying to avoid
No,
it,
she
it
just got
fell.
scared by it.
But she hits her head on the pavement and seemingly dies. So this is enough to throw that faction into chaos, but they can't immediately do anything about it because they don't realize it's happened.
So basically, we see Dr. Usami,
I think.
He just tends to some patients. He helps some people out, but there are too many people asking for help, so they have to move on because they need our main character to kill someone.
Sort of as I thought, like, in the last episode, the people who are complaining about Dr. Usami, like, it seemed like their expectation was he will perform a literal miracle. And when they got, like, automail, they just were upset. And that's what made those people seem super, like,
silly,
shitty and ridiculous. And that is kind of what this leads in on. Like, yeah, no, Usami's a great guy. He's helped out a ton of people. They all seem to love him who, like, understand that they're not going to get their limbs back, you know. Great doctor, he helping out people, but he's got a, I don't know if it's established
it's
that
his
she
daughter
is,
or something.
Is it his daughter?
It doesn't say that.
It's a girl that may as well be in that he's been taking care of her for so long. But
so this girl, she'd been alluded to in the prior episode. She's only kept alive by machines. It looks like a pretty torturous existence. It's the only reason this hospital exists.
no arms, no legs,
Missing an eye.
covered in bandages. According to Welcome to the NHK, this is the definition of moe.
Okay.
She's the most pathetic creature you could imagine.
Well, so anyway, Usami explains that the reason she's like this is because man-eaters become that way because they are humans who have a disease, and the only way to stop them from becoming man-eaters is to cut out the diseased part and keep them alive. And so, Usami asks our boy, can you kill her? He can. He can kill her.
Yeah, this girl has been having her limbs removed as they become infected and is being kept alive because if she dies, she'll become a monster. So, like, this is one of those scenarios where it's impossible not to immediately, like, love and care about the characters because, like, this is all out of nobility, right? She's just trying not to turn. Like, obviously she wants to fucking die. Her existence is sitting around on a bed connected to tubes, barely alive. This is not a life. But if she dies, she'll turn into a fucking monster. So she's not trying to do that. Very noble to keep yourself alive in circumstances such as this.
I don't know that it's necessarily her choice.
I think she would have asked to die. If she, I mean, in this, what this episode's about is her asking to die, or him asking for her to die. Like, oh, we found somebody who can do it. Like, you know, without her turning into a zombie and killing us all. So, like, I think it's fair to say that she would have wanted to die at any point if it was possible, but is literally living so that she won't turn into a fucking thing. And that's why he's keeping her alive. And it's all kind of taken as just a fact of life by them. Like, this is the life they've been living, you know? They're not, like, depressed about it necessarily, but the opportunity's here.
So she can communicate through a tablet. Our main character finds out that he can, in fact, kill her and goes, but wait, Maru goes, what does she want? And she wants to see the sky one last time.
Yes, she communicates on the tablet. Please let me see the sky one last time. And Hiruko says, can we please bring her outside? We only need to travel this far.
She just needs to see the sky. And Usami's not for it, but eventually he just does it.
I gotta say, this episode, man.
It's very heavy. It's very sad. I'm trying not to go too deep because it's really worth watching.
We met this doctor at the end of the last episode, asking us to kill someone. Everything we know about the main character this episode, we learn in this episode alone. And it's not... What I think is so impressive about this episode is that it carries so much emotional weight over literally so little distance. As she says, it's only this far.
Yeah.
All we have to do, literally this whole episode, is about, can we get that girl with no limbs from her bed
to the sky,
to the hallway where she can see the sky so she can die peacefully. That's it. Does that sound heavy? Does that sound difficult to watch?
It does.
Oh boy, does it get that way.
So, as they're doing this, as they're working to take her out into to see the sky, the protesters are storming the science place because the man-eaters that were in the basement are all dead. The guard that had been guarding the basement previously runs out to and he's on their side, runs out to let them know where to rush, and is immediately murdered, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, so the resistance force has immediately resorted to violence after their leader is gone.
And they say, revenge for our leader.
Meanwhile,
the girl's killed.
Yeah, Maru... There's a really trippy, cool sequence where he, goes into her heart to kill her. And, we've seen that he interfaces with the monsters in a kind of way like this, but this is the first time where it's presented like he's literally meeting her soul, greeting her and saying goodbye, and it's really tragic. Obviously her blood is all over his hands, dripping down, and he feels fucked up about it, but it's what you have to do. She can't fucking go on like this. Yeah, it's fucking rough.
It's sad.
And then the dad,
so the tablet,
doctor...
The tablet has a bunch of last messages from the girl to the doctor, and it basically goes, thank you for letting me die as a human. Thanks you.
I love you. And he's just fucking crushed and crying about it, and you're like, you as we were watching this, you were like, as a man, how are you crying right now? And I was like, if you told anybody why he was crying, they would start crying too. It's fucked.
And so the protesters take over the place that was previously the hospital because they have a bunch of generators, and there's a man-eater alive. Everybody's gonna die.
Yeah, they didn't get all of them when they did it in the last episode. So I suspect both factions will probably just be entirely eliminated if we learn anything about what's going on here. I don't need to show you much more than this image to understand what's about to happen.
Usami's really sad. He's hanging out with the corpse, and basically
he carries this girl around
for a whole day.
Several scenes of him just over shoulder, carrying the corpse of the girl. Obviously he knows she's dead. He's accepted it, but he is not ready to part with her. Ever. This is all he's been doing. This is what it was all about. He helped all those people so that they could help him keep her alive. She's dead. What's left? This world is a fuck.
So that's this episode.
Yeah, he shoots himself in the fucking
It's
head.
really, really sad.
And I actually, this scene that really got to me.
Oh yeah, they find him and are like, "No, why'd you do this, jerk?"
It's that Maru is like kind of blaming himself. He's like, everywhere I go, it's just fucking death. Like, I killed that girl, now he's dead. This is fucked up. And Kiriko clings to him, and like, remember, she's got a sort of complex about, I am actually a boy, I'm my brother and my body, but like clearly likes Maru at the same time. And so I liked that the emotion kind of overcomes the pretense in this scene.
Sure.
And she's just clinging to him, and like, speaking personally, nothing makes me sadder than the person I love blaming themselves, or like being down, like being like, I can't exist anymore. And it's like, oh, well, that's, like, well, shit, if you think you can't exist anymore, what am I supposed to do? I just thought it was a really intimate way to make her care about him in a direct fashion, where like he's feeling so bad that no matter how expressive or clingy she is, it's not gonna even seem it doesn't seem weird, like it doesn't even seem romantic. It's more like what has happened in front of them is so fucked and harsh, that like she's just trying to keep this dude alive.
Ohio Sakai, good morning world.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait,
also,
no, I forgot there was like a flashback scene too.
There's
it
a
had
weird
been like
ending
3
scene.
episodes since we'd had one of these.
It's been a while since we visited the facility. The little girl who's got like kind of odd eyebrows has like a dream. I don't know. She's in a tunnel. She grabs hands with somebody. I suspect it's the kid
she
who
goes,
already died.
"Oh, you're here. It's not scary then."
She's probably got the disease and she's gonna die.
Yeah.
All right. Ohio Sakai.
Okay, good morning world. All right.
And actually, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I spent all week thinking about how I was going to talk about the music in every show this week, and I didn't talk about the music in any of the shows this week.
Oh, well.
I
talk about
can't
the music
believe
next
I failed
week.
so hard. I will have to. There are some shows with amazing music, some shows with okay music, and some shows that use it really poorly, like Dr. Stone, where the music is always at 11 and amazing, and
but not well.
It doesn't
timed.
always fit what's happening in the scene. It's just such a loud and intense, like it's trying to be as shonen as it can, while like the plot is about science. Like it's nerds.
Yeah.
It's nerds acting really intense.
So they show up to Petrification Island. I guess they're hiding behind a rock or something. At some point, it's discovered that Suika is there. She snuck on board.
She's stowed away.
But they're sending the smallest team they can possible onto the mainland.
It's funny because 2 episodes ago we established everybody who was on the boat,
Which was everybody.
We had some commenters who complained about how like the show really had a chance to reduce the size of its cast.
Yeah, and they didn't at all.
Didn't, and it gets even funnier that Suika's on board because it's like great, like. Even more fucking characters.
And later in this episode, we get even more characters.
She's told that, he's just being strict with you because he
doesn't want you to
safety,
die.
you see.
Imagine how he'd have to react if you were killed.
This episode starts off kind of lame and then rapidly ramps up to be the best
scary
episode in a while.
Ukyo basically goes, "Hey, can someone go look at the seafloor?" And so Ginro dives down and he sees a bunch of statues. And Ginro's like, "Yeah, that's not weird. We see statues all the time." And Ukyo goes, "No. When the petrification happened, there weren't people on this island. There's something very wrong here."
Yes. Why would there be petrified people here? So immediately this raises the idea the petrification wave has happened more than once. This is fucking huge.
It's spooky.
It's the whole plot.
Here we go.
Has been about the petrification. We've never known fucking anything about it. And now we know it could potentially be happening multiple times. Oh, not just potentially, it literally happens.
Oh no, Chrome and the old man.
Remember how they sent out the smallest recon team they possibly could?
Well, there are characters now. Woohoo!
Yeah,
our cast
news.
is cut down.
Our cast has been cut down. Everybody gets turned to stone except the recon crew, who discovers
Suika
it
is
and
okay
freaks
too.
the fuck out. Yes, Suiko was thrown to shore by Ryusui at the last moment, is what she says. This is
Oh my god, scary
Senku's
Senku.
reaction. And I want to comment on, like, this manga is drawn by a guy called Boichi, who
The Rock.
Sun Ken Rock was actually the name of the first thing he did that got popular. He's a Korean artist who Sun Ken Rock is basically like about gangsters in like the city just like beating the shit out of each other. It's got like lots of prostitutes and stuff. It's aimed at an older audience than Dr. Stone. He's done a bunch of manga, but what I would consider his trademark is that he draws his characters really different in every panel. There's almost no consistency, except that he consistently draws the same types of weird expressions. So this is like a very Boichi drawing of like half completely in darkness, this like super serious, ridiculous face that he's making, finding out his friends have been petrified. I just thought it was really cool. I like that this anime really tries to adapt how different the characters must look panel to panel in the manga into animation. They also introduced this girl who Boichi
Amaryllis.
His vision of beauty is basically the tiniest mouth and the biggest eyes humanly fucking imaginable.
Yeah.
And then some kind of, even though the characters might be fair-skinned, some kind of African-American style. Like her hair, she's wearing
she has dreadlocks.
Dreadlocks. Boichi loves like incorporating those little aspects of like American African designs into his characters, regardless of how much fucking sense it makes. But yeah, that's where we're at.
Soyuz is immediately in love, and Kohaku's like, we need to, Gen rather is like, we need to take this tactfully. We need to go up to her. First impressions are everything. Basically, Senku just walks up and is like, hey. Where's my treasure chest, bitch?
Yes. And they're worried that she could be the one who caused the stones, all kinds of stuff. But they see 3 guys proposing to her all of a sudden.
And she turns them down because she is betrothed to the master or the leader or something. Yes, the leader.
I love that Kohaku is so excited about this. I will be upset if Dr. Stone ends without her literally bearing Senku's child. This woman wants this man more than any other woman has ever wanted a man. She just wants. She thinks Senku is she literally thinks he is the greatest genius of all time. She's just like, this man thinks on a level I can't begin to comprehend because she's kind of a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But she's really strong, and whatever she can do for him, she's very happy she can do it for him because she thinks he's like literally the ultimate. And all the scenes where she like brags about him are really cute.
They are adorable.
She's always like, well, Senku thinks like this. Of course he would make those decisions. I'm just saying, they gotta have children.
Let's see how it plays out. Alright, so Amaryllis is sad. She's going to be taken to the master tomorrow to become a bride of the inner palace.
Is she sad? Because actually, she's carrying a basket of mushrooms. Shells. And she, like, squirts juice, salt water, into her eyes to make herself cry. Because she's trying to pretend that she's really happy that the guys from the island proposed to her and that she would totally take any of them if she wasn't, I have to go to the master. Actually, she super wants to be married to the master, but it's so she can stop him because he's in control of the petrification waves. But anybody she thinks
gets a big hug because she thinks he is the master. She says, "I love you." He is embarrassed.
Big time hoe
energy. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everybody who says they're because first she thinks it's him. He passes out. They're like, it's not him. And then Kohaku's like, if anybody's our master, it would be Senku. So she does the same thing to him, and he's just like, ugh.
I can't be fooled by your tricks.
What a hoe.
So
I forgot
tear gas.
I forgot this happened until I rewatched the episode. They
right
to bypass the other villagers, they just tear gassed them.
Yeah,
I guess
the villagers are fighting or something, and so Senku goes, "Gen, we have to use this," and then they tear gas them. It was pretty weird. It was out of nowhere, but
it was
cool.
an odd one.
She looks cool. She's standing there.
She basically says that she spent her whole life training to be the prettiest girl in the village,
which is convenient,
so that she could be with the master
and
I
figure
guess
out
she
the
succeeded.
secret. She's about to go there.
I like her. She's cute.
She's fun. I like her. She's a good new character. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's it. We did it. We covered
all
all
right,
the
ladies and gentlemen.
anime.
I am going to go lay down right now.
It was
has
only a
been
6-hour
such a wonderful
podcast.
time with all of you. Thank you, Shabes, for being on.
Maybe it was only if we're gonna split this into 2 episodes, right? Magical Destroyers went on for 4 hours.
4 hours, and
the rest of it went on for less than 2. But it was kind of a midweek for most of the anime, so I'm glad we had a long, meaty discussion on Magical Destroyers. I hope you all enjoyed this ridiculously long live stream / podcast that I apparently am gonna have to edit or something.
Oh yeah. Just download it on the laptop and.
I have to. Okay. It's 3:50 in the morning. I'm about to edit this podcast, then create the shorts, and then by the time I'm done with that and I fix up the car, we will hit the road to drive to Iowa from Kentucky. So it's gonna
Thank
be
you
10
for
and a half
listening.
hours.
Check out our Patreon. Check out our Backed
The
By.
sooner that you guys support us to the extent that we don't need to I love driving around the country. We're going to do that anyway.
But I can't wait until we can do it for fun.
I would rather be driving around to go to conventions
Or camping.
than to do what we currently do. So,
hey, also,
support us on Patreon or Backed By.
Toyota just introduced their new Tacoma.
Yeah, I want it.
Buy
It looks
me
really
a Tacoma
nice.
Trail Hunter, please. That's the
Trail
new
Hunter
goal.
is fucking sexy.
Anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are on Patreon. We are on Backed
This
By.
was a lot
We
of fun.
appreciate all of you. And remember,